And then, and this is one of the powers of neurolinguistic programming, because it really goes into the representations that we make on a deep, deep level. So in NLP, we talk about modalities, right? Your different sensory modalities, your visual, your auditory, and so on. But each one of those, if you remember a moment in your past and you're bringing up an image, right? That image has qualities. It has a certain size. It has a distance that it is popping up in front of you. It might be in color, or it might be in black and white. It might be a still image, or it might be a movie, and so on, right? So there are all these components that make our internal imagery. And in NLP, we are basically working with that internal imagery to make changes there. And one of the presuppositions, and it's NLP is basically based on presuppositions. One of them is what you just mentioned before, that the body and the mind are part of one system, right? The body and the mind, they are part of one system. And we also absolutely strongly believe that nobody is broken, right? This is something that we hear in psychology a lot, is that, people are broken and they need to be fixed. And that's not necessarily the case. It's just that the program that they're running inside of their mind might be not as useful as somebody else's program. But then they're comparing themselves and say, oh, I'm broken. But no, you're not really broken, It's like...
You just have a code that is not, I call it unhelpful. I prefer to, not say,
right.
I'm not in the business of fixing anybody, just like you are, even though, I work as a therapist, but I don't fix people. There's nothing to fix.
And so one other of these presuppositions is that change happens in an instant, right? Change happens in an instant. Trauma is caused in a split second in many, many cases.
Yes.
So how or why couldn't the resolving of the trauma happen in a split second?
Yes, I agree with you. Sometimes we have to deal with the debris, right? Which might take a little bit longer, all the consequences it had in our lives of the decisions we took. So that might take a little bit longer, but that shift, I think I'm very glad you mentioned that, because we have this attitude that shifting is tedious and it takes forever. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about NLP and about your work, is in that, no, that's not the case. It can actually shift very quickly, very profoundly.
Yes. To